Hey RCT, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about a lot of different topics. This is going to be titled Talk Permit Tone, Secure Comms, FPP, and DVRS. And the reason why I want to make this video is because there is a lot of videos out there talking about how you need to set up your TPT hack, meaning your DVRS, TPT, and then your analog TPT. Now, the reason why I say that is I want to show you that you can actually have two different types of TPT, and I've seen a lot of videos and TikTok videos telling you that you have to set it up a certain way. Now, yes and no, I found easier ways to do that, and I'll show you in the CPS in a few minutes what I mean by that. Oops. So that's going to be your normal DVRS TPT, right? And then you can actually, after you set up your radio, and I'll show you how to do it in a minute, FPP, you go in here, you change it, right? And then you get one, two, three. Okay, so that's where a lot of people have been saying you have to set up your CPS with Astro, your transmit and your receive Astro, and then you can come in here and change it. Well, let me show you that that is not necessarily true. The reason why I say that is because you won't be able to use your MDC bleep or your MDC trailing. We can call it your Roger beep because we understand that we mostly like it to be a Roger beep. MDC is data, what is it? Motorola data communicator. It just means it's sending digital information over analog. Generally what it means is it's sending a tone out or an ID, right? Let's see if I can show it on here. So it's not showing up here. I probably didn't enable it on this radio here. This is going to be an XTS5000, XTS5000 Model 3, Model 2, for those of you who are not really familiar with what that is. So again, set this up, mix mode. So let me send you over to the CPS, and then I'll show you in depth a little bit more on how I set that up. And then it might be easier for you to just go ahead and change the settings, because again, we want to be able to go from this using digital and then also using analog, right? So I want to be able to use analog and digital with a TPT. So when you have DVRS enabled, there's a lot of people that said it won't be a very long, exaggerated TPT, but I'm not too sure that's entirely true, because again, someone said if you enable ADP, it will give you the normal, right? It will give you that talk permit tone. And again, not entirely sure. I messed around with it for some time and I haven't been able to figure out how to get around to that. So all right, let me show you, let's go over to the CPS and I'll show you exactly how I set up the hack first, and then we'll go on to talk a little bit more about ADP and FPP and DVRS, which I believe you cannot have all of those in a single personality, although I just watched Med Rescue 3429 on YouTube, and he said you can actually have DVRS on an FPP with secure, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, and I'll show you here in a few minutes why I don't think that's entirely true, or maybe I'm missing a step. Med Rescue 3429, if you see this, please help me out. I'm not entirely sure what you did different, because I'm enabling FPP, enabling an Astro system with DVRS. I'm including secure, but my secure will not enable as long as it's a DVRS Astro system. All right, so I'll show you in a few minutes what I mean. Stand by and let me come back to you, and I'll zoom into the CPS a little bit more. All right, team, hopefully you can see this. I'm going to zoom in as much as I can. I don't know how to do screen recording just yet. I'm a little older than I probably seem, so I'm not really techno as I used to be back in the days with my Windows XP and Windows Vista and Windows 95. So here we're running Windows 11, I think, with the Astro 25 portable CPS. This is an XTS5000 right here, as I explained right here. I'm sorry, it zoomed in. Full panel FPP. So again, what I want to talk about first is how to use or set up the hack so you can actually use Astro and MDC if you decide to switch from mixed mode to analog and then analog to digital. Let's open up the first personality. I'm going to show you here that the first thing I did was I set up mixed mode. So if you go down here, you'll see the little chart. I'm just explaining for those who maybe don't understand CPS or have never have used it, or you're actually opening it up for the first time. So if you're using CPS for the first time here, you're going to use this right here. This is called the table, right? So you have the table, and then you can also see that it turns into a little folder here, just like that. So you can use folder, or you can use a table. So to make things a little quicker, you can use a table. You're going to go down and change all the personality, the receiving to mixed mode. As you can see here, you have non-Astro, mix, and then Astro. Again, someone said you have to set all these up to Astro first, and then go into your radio and then change it to mixed mode, and then change your transmitting to analog. Well, I found that if you did it the other way, you don't get to use your MDC. And sometimes I want to use MDC, especially the little bleep, the little Roger beep at the end, if I'm going to use analog. What's the point of me having MDC in an XTS5000 if I'm not going to be able to have the awesome little bleep at the end, right? So set up with mixed mode, but before you do that, you have to actually individually set up Astro and MDC. So set up your digital settings and then set up your, so what you're going to do is here's non-Astro. Okay, so non-Astro here. Signaling, set your MDC, right? So if you have multiple MDCs, you're going to set up which one you're going to use. And then PTTID, MDC, you're going to select anything you want to select. You don't have to select all of these. Sometimes it makes a difference, sometimes it doesn't. I realize that sometimes if you have these enabled, other radios, like if you're trying to connect your Baofeng, has a hard time picking through because your Motorola radio cannot decode and encode other radios, especially if it's a Baofeng. So I would just say be mindful or tinker around with this to see what works best. Secure, you won't be able to use secure. Now I'm going to show you a difference in a few minutes, that if you set this up the same way that I did with MDC and P25, you can actually use secure on analog and on P25, and I'll go into that in a few minutes. Secure 2, this is not going to work. You don't worry about repeater access, don't worry about phone, don't worry about scam. We're going to go over to Astro. So again, so once you set up your MDC as analog, then you're going to change this over to Astro. It's going to do automatically Astro, and then set up whichever Astro system you want to set up. Okay. Now keep in mind that if you're using FPP for one zone, meaning if we go to one zone down here and it's FPP enabled, you're not going to be able to change much, because FPP means it's, number one, limited, restricted, or it's set up a certain way that you're only supposed to be able to use it. So as you can see here, this is zone 1 of 4. Zone 1, it's going to be FPP enabled, and it's going to show you the channels here, channels and personalities, right? So anytime you set up a zone, it's going to, a zone with an FPP, it's going to automatically create the 16 channels. It requires 16 because sometimes here you can't delete these. As you can see here, you can select these and you can't delete, right? Versus if you went to a zone that's not FPP, you can delete each channel if you want to. So if you only want to program 10 or 5 or whatever the case is, you can actually sit here and delete each channel there, right? If you can see that. So let's go back to what were we talking about. So you are setting up your Astro, right? So you set up your mix or your non-Astro. So analog, select your MDC. Signaling right here, very good. Now we're going to go over to Astro. It's going to do Astro, which system do you want to use? Use 1. That means you have to go over and set up an Astro system. So look for your Astro system here. You can set this up however you need to. There's not really much more that you need to really set up here. Okay, radio wide talk, and you don't have to do this. You don't have to do data. You don't have to do this. No, this is really irrelevant. So just go ahead and start setting up your Astro systems here. You can create some. Again, remember, if you have FPP enabled, you're going to be very limited to how you can set this up. So Astro System 1 is going to be tied to certain personalities already because it's FPP. Now you want to come over to your DVRS on any of the systems that you want to have the talk permit tone, which is going to be, nope, not that one. Okay, that's going to be your DVRS talk permit tone, which is right here. So set up your system. Again, you can put whatever ID you want here. You can do status, message. If you do status, you can enable status, message, however you want to do it. You don't necessarily have to do all of these. Emergency, I wouldn't worry about this. This kind of takes a few different setups, and you have to make sure the other radio is set up very similar. Again, if you do this, it's going to ask you to set these up, and you're going to have to set up a few other things that you may not be ready to do. Excuse me, let me turn this off. It's complaining. Don't worry about remote. Don't worry about advanced. You can actually take this off. So if you leave this on, your radio is going to try to transmit from time to time. It's going to try to connect with the repeater. There's a lot of things in the back end that when a Astro system is set up, P25 is set up, it does a lot of communication to the system or to the tower or to the console from time to time. Number 1, to make sure it's in range. Number 2, to make sure there's no data that needs to be received or sent. And a lot of times it does a lot of radio checks in the back end without you even knowing what it's doing. So you can disable that. Not necessarily very important, but if you ever catch your Motorola radio doing some sort of burst or transmission, you see the light blinking without hearing anything. Sometimes it's just kind of transmitting in the background trying to connect to something. Data, don't worry about this. ARS, don't worry about that. And again, back over here, you're going to enable DVRS, talk permit tone, and then TA when no DVRS is connected. So this means go ahead and transmit when I don't see or hear or connect to a DVRS, right? Again, you can mess with these if you like, not really important. And then you're going to set up another one. That's going to be one that you can select. So you're going to need at least 3. I recommend 3. The first one is locked to your FPP. The second one you can actually enable, or you can set it up how you want on non-FPP personalities. And then the last one you want to do is another one. So you can see here 303, no DVRS enabled. And I'm going to tell you in a few minutes why I think this is important. If you have better ways to do this, let me know. Going back to your zones, we're going to go over here. Let's go over to personalities. So back to personalities. And here, as I mentioned before, each personality is going to be set with some certain MDC or Astro system, right? So as you can see here, these are all going to be 1 through 34. And then the first set is 1 through 16, right? The next is going to be 17 through 32. And then 33 is going to be your next zone here. So the reason why I'm saying this is because you can see here, oops, I lost it, sorry. You can see here, it's going to show you the channels with the personalities. So here it's going to be 1 through 16, but it's going to be personality 33 and then 34. And I'm going to show you why 34 is different from the rest of these right here. So going back to this, personality 1 through 16, because it's FPP, right? FPP, channel 1 through 16, there. Next zone is going to be 17 through 32. It's going to be FPP. Now, when you FPP, you technically need its own personality. If you have the same personality for one FPP zone, all the channels are actually going to start acting the same. So you have to make sure you have a different personality per zone for each channel. All right, so we're going to go over now to zone 3. Zone 3 is not an FPP zone. And I'm going to tell you why in a few minutes. And then what is zone 4? I don't remember setting up zone 4. Maybe I did. Okay, so zone 4, let's go back to zone 3. Zone 3 right here, FPP not enabled. And then we have personality 33 and then 34 right down here. All right, now keep that in mind. So let's go over to 33. As you can see here, 33 is going to be set up with Astro System 2. Okay, now again, Astro System 2 is, if you remember, there's going to be no, I think it's someone with DVRS, right? Okay, right here, you're going to see Astro System is with DVRS. Astro System 3 is going to be without DVRS. Now you're going to see why here is 33. So channel 15 and 16 is going to be 34, while 1 through 14 is 33. Okay. Again, set this up how you need. This isn't really important. Obviously, if you want to be able to use it how you want to, obviously you're going to set all this up how you need to begin with. Okay. Back to personality 33 and then 34. So 33, Astro System 2. Okay. So it's going to be Astro and then Astro. Same thing with personality 34. This is going to have Astro System 3. Astro System 3 is without DVRS. Okay, so, but it's still going to be Astro and it's still going to be Astro. And there's a reason why I did 33 and then 34. Now, let's talk about encryption or ADP. So each radio, typically the XTS5000 versions, the newer line, the 15, 25, and 5000 usually come with ADP. All you have to do is go to your radio information, look at the feature, and then you can actually see here that it comes with ADP right here. Okay, as long as you have that, you should be good to go. If that's the case, you go over to radio information, secure configuration, and you're going to secure equipment, and then you're going to advanced digital privacy. Hardware means you actually have the chip or the board, the UCM board. If you don't have the UCM board installed, then you just can use the advanced digital privacy feature right here. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. Go over to multi-key. Make sure this is going to automatically select here. Now, don't worry about this. This is going to say display on secured switch, right? So you can either do neither, so it's not going to show anything, the key name or the key set name, whichever you want to do. Advanced, you can do the text clear alert tone, or you can do the receiving clear alert tone. Now, there is a difference when you have the text clear alert tone. That's the single beep that you hear going through. Now, let me see if I can find that so I can show you. And I don't think I have it enabled on here. Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay, that's that single beep that you hear. That's telling you that it's secured. Should tell you that it's secured. I might have not even enabled it on mine. I'll show you in a minute what I mean. All right, all of this other stuff doesn't really matter. It's not going to let you select this. You can do this. It's not going to let you select that. So again, these are all set in a certain way to make sure that it works properly. So once you have that, go over to system keys. You're always going to make sure that you go to here and never use this one, because if you look at here, it says slot 0, B slot 0. So you always want to use 1 and 1. Now, if you look at this here, you're going to wonder how I came up with this. Go to Google, go to whatever AI platform, Gemini, or just your Google AI, and ask it to generate a 10-character ADP key. You can easily do that. Let me see if I can do that right here. Can you generate right here? You can see I asked it before, and it's going to give you a key right here. Very good. So you're going to take this key, right click, copy, drop that, and you're just going to plug it in here. Delete, right click, paste. Now you have your new ADP key. It's that simple. You can come up with any that you like. If you don't want to do Google to help you, you can actually just do A1, B2, C3, D4, E5, however you want to do it, up to 10 characters. So it doesn't really matter how you set this up. You can also even do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, right? Because that's 10 characters. However you want to do it. And you can go in here and update these as much as you want, as many times as you want. You can create multiple, and you can tell it later on which ones to use per channel, if anything. So once you have these set up here, you're going to close that. You're going to go back to your personality that you can actually alter. So again, the ones that you can alter are the ones that you are not FPPing. Again, the reason why I say that is because if you look at Astro here, it's not going to let you do secure. So as long as this is set up with Astro and set up with Astro, you're supposed to be able to go over to secure 2 and see it being able to change here. And you can't see it here because this system, Astro system, is DVRS, right? Here's Astro system, DVRS. Now let's go to personality 34. Okay, personality 34, Astro. Let's go over to, don't worry about here. You're going to see that now it's letting you select this here. So again, 34, let's go back to 33. It doesn't let you select it here because this Astro system is DVRS. Okay, now let's look at 33 again. You're going to see now 33 lets you do that. So clear means you're not going to let it have any sort of ADP. Secure means it's required. Select means you can select it to be encryption on or encryption off. And that's what the system here is. The right here, they call this the concentric switch. You can either see it turn on or off. You can see there. That's on and that's off. So as long as you select right here, you're going to be okay to select whether you want it on or off. Secure 2, you're going to go down here. And again, if it's strapped or selected, either one, you can go here to selection key. Now you can tell it which one to use. So that these are going to be these keys here. So remember how we talked about not using 1, but using 2, 3, 4. So let's just say I want to use 3. I'd go back over here and select key 3. Or I can do 2, because 2 is a little bit more difficult because Google told me to use this one here, and that's the one that's a little bit more complicated. So that looks kind of cool, right? So you're going to close that, and then you're going to now program your radio, right? You're going to program here. It's going to read the radio. And then now I'm going to show you the difference of being able to FPP, DVRS, and then secure. Now, they all kind of work differently, and I think this is why I said if others can maybe provide some insight on how to be able to do all 3, meaning you can FPP with DVRS and with secure with ADP, then let me know, right? Because again, we want to be able to use secure on FPP with the TPT, right? The talk permit tone. Again, I did all I could to see what I can, but I wasn't able to figure out exactly how to get ADP with TPT with DVRS and FPP, right? It kind of seems a little convoluted, but that's really where I'm trying to get these radios to work. Now let me show you. Standby. Give me 1 second. All right, we're back. So again, let me show you the radios on how it's set up. Sorry, hopefully this isn't making too much noise. So I'm going to show you how they're set up differently. So again, XTS5000 Model 2, XTS5000 Model 3. This has full FPP. You know what? I don't even know if this one has FPP. Maybe it doesn't. Not important. This to me was more important to have FPP, but I guess I could have gotten one that Model 2 that has FPP. I just didn't think Model 2 would have FPP, but I see others do have FPP on their Model 2, which is kind of cool. Or maybe I just didn't click it. All right, so let's talk about being able to use, again, let's go over to be able to use this, right? So the reason why you hear that beep at the very end is because I enabled the secure TX, right? It's telling me that it's good to be able to use this. Go ahead and use it. Now, fortunately, you can't really do that per personality, which I wish you could, meaning if you go back into your secure right here and configuration, go to advanced, it says text TX clear alert tone or receive clear alert tone. If you have those enabled, you're going to hear that the beep at the very end. All right, so number 1, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2, check 1 2 1 2. All right, and then the second one, like I said, we want to keep it also DVRS. Actually, now I got to go to my different zone for that one. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. All right, so that's what you're going to have as far as setting up your personality with a DVRS. Set up your Astro, set up your MDC, so when you swap these over, it's going to use both of those MDC and the DVRS setting. So when you go here, when you do mixed, right? Because before someone said you have to have it digital, and then this is going to be digital. Well, no, you can actually set up your radio to be mixed on your CPS. So then you can just come over here, edit, analog, and then now either that or oops, 2. So it's going to change that to analog, done, right? So however you want to set that up, it's kind of nice to be able to use the TPT on the analog mode, and you can also still hear your MDC bleep at the end, right? 1 2 1 2 1 2 3. All right, so that is going to be my zone where it's going to be able to use TPT, whether it's P25 or P25. Okay. Now let's talk about the other zones where I said you can't really have DVRS and secure at the same time. Now let me show you what I mean by that, because some of you are going to try to call me out on that. And I'm going to show you right now what exactly I mean by that. All right, so this is going to be on, let's see, channel 14. This is going to be on channel 14. Now let's just do 15 so I can show you why. 1 2 1 2. Okay, now this is 16. 1 2 1 2. All right. Now the reason why 15 doesn't have DVRS is because it's going to be a secure 1 2 1 2. As I showed you before, you sit here and turn on secure. Now it won't be able to hear it. 1 2 1 2 1 2. Right? So as long as your radio is set up not to be secure equipment or the UCM, if you don't enable, when you go to secure configuration, if you have equipment unchecked here, then you're not going to get any sort of encryption, because your radio, you're telling your radio, don't worry about unmuting anything that sounds encrypted because I don't have encrypted equipment on my radio. This is why right here I actually took off the hearing. I opened the radio, opened the channel, and you can hear what's going through now. Otherwise, if I talk, turn it off. Otherwise, if I talk, this is going through, it's not picking it up because it's not even bothering unmuting the radio. Sorry, I'm trying to find a spot for you to see. All right, and again, if I open the channel, now I can hear what's coming through. So that's why I'm saying it's a little different where I cannot. So let's just say that this channel, this was encrypted, right? I'm not going to be able to talk. And then I can turn my encryption off. And then now they can hear me. 1 2 3 4 5. So hopefully I'm trying to make this very clear for you to understand that it's very difficult for you to get pretty much all the bells and whistles with your XTS. If you want to have your DVRS talk permit tone, you have to set up one Astro system. If you want to have to be able to FPP it to have talk permit tone on analog and DVRS, you have to set up with mix mode, and then you can change your FPP to digital or analog when you transmit, right? That's going to make that difference of it using Astro or P25 or using your MDC. Now, if you want to use secure, again, I don't think you can use DVRS with a secured personality. As I showed you, I think I went through to show you, to prove to you that you essentially can't unless I'm doing something wrong. But I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out. As you can see here, if you looked at my code plug, it said ADP test 2. I have multiple of those because when I try to mess around with these, I save as in case I want to go back to the one that worked best. And this is the one that worked best, where I can still have, I guess, different possibilities or options to be able to FPP analog and digital TPT, or I can actually have an entire zone with DVRS, which I don't mind, and at the same time a few channels on there that are ready to go with secure if I want to or need to use secured, right? So again, I can make this channel be able to talk 1 2 1 2, but as you can see, it doesn't have DVRS, because if I enable DVRS on the Astro system, it didn't let me add secure to the personality. And again, I proved to you, I showed it to you, it wasn't giving me the option to do that. Now, if I want to use DVRS, swap order channel 14, 1 2 1 2, but then it doesn't let you do secure. See, that's what it's going to say if it doesn't find a secure setup. It's saying you can only talk on clear. Okay. So let me know if I'm doing something wrong. Let me know if there's a different way to do it. Please go through the video and try to understand what I did. I know I kind of went through it semi-quickly, but that is essentially the way that I kind of figured it out watching all these TikTok videos and other YouTube videos. Especially I paid attention to Med Rescue 3429's YouTube videos. He has a few of them. It looks like it's about 2 years old, 3 years old, and he has some comments in here that I don't think he got back to people. People are asking that it wasn't working for them. So again, I don't know. Hopefully he is able to answer. I don't even know if I can tag, but I'm going to try to tag him in this video and see if he can maybe show us how to do it better if he is using FPP with DVRS with secure comm. That's what I'm mostly interested in. So, all right, YouTube. All right, Radio Check. Sorry, I don't call you YouTube, the Radio Check team. That's all I have for now. Let me know if you have any questions on this. Again, hopefully this helps you set up your talk permit tone on analog and on your digital P25 channels, which I think is kind of cool. And then let's hear that one more time, right? I think I set it up. Oops. Right. And then, of course, the secure beep is kind of annoying. I'm probably going to take that off because I don't want to hear that extra beep. But then again, when I do secure, I'm not going to be able to do that again, meaning go back to my secure channels. If I took it off, I won't be able to bleep it, right, or hear that I'm pushing it, right? 1 2 1 2, and then secure on 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. All right, Radio Check team. I think that's all I'm going to have for us right now. Let me know if you have any questions. Follow me on TikTok. Like I said, I'm not on Instagram anymore. They gave me too many warnings, and every time I log back into Instagram, they tell me that my account's restricted because of the people that I'm following. Not even because of what I'm posting, but because of the people that I'm following. And I'm not really following many people. I think I only have maybe 8, less than 10. And I don't know. I think they have a bad eye for me, and no matter how many accounts that I do or what I post or who I interact, I'm not even interacting with people, but it says I'm restricted because of the people I'm interacting with. I'm not even interacting. I'm just following people, and I guess they don't like that. So, all right, radio check. I'll cut it here. Let me know if you have any questions. We'll see you on the next one. Radio check. Over now.
We'll see you on the next video.
Next video.